Smoking weed, is Mr. Blade capable of being a decent father?
Yes.
Dad who's not here in court today, even though he was served, is actually in possession of the child.
He said he's not sending him back, and if I ever want to see him again, to get visitation through the court. That information as well.
I'm sorry.
Asking the court to proceed in default. I imagine the court will not finalize this one. I would have no objection if the court wanted to finalize it, but I could see why the court might not. This one is, it has some moving parts, Your Honor. So Dad who's not here in court today, even though he was served, is actually in possession of the child. And that's a bone of contention. I'll let Ms. Caro go into more detail, but basically she's going to testify that under false pretenses, Ms. Caro to give him the child, and that he's not given the child back. I don't believe we have a jurisdictional. I'm pretty sure we don't have a jurisdictional issue because I was living in Texas when this case was filed. She moved to Georgia for work. Project, and I'll let her tell the court more about that. But with the intention of coming back to Texas when her project was done. It was a longer term project. I believe we have jurisdiction. I believe we have significant contacts with Texas. I think she'll testify that she has another child in Texas, and a lot of her family lives in Texas, or all of her family lives in Texas. So I want to make the court aware of those as well. And then I believe Ms. Caro is going to testify to some safety concerns that she has. Other than that, I believe we're going to ask the court to use minimum wage. We'll ask the court to order retroactive child support and to consider non-disclosure. And have you conducted a wage investigation in this matter?
Yes, sir, I have.
Okay, and will you tell the court what you found?
Yes, I have found that it has had a series of reporting employers. They do not amount to minimum wage accumulatively for each quarter. The last reporting quarter that we have is the third quarter of 2023 for $240, and then we have one for the first quarter of 2023 for $2,948.04.
And so do you have a guideline child support calculation for the court?
The guideline child support calculation here is that minimum wage for $1,256.67. That's gross. There is one child before the court, one child outside the court, asking $28 to go to if there's health insurance to be ordered, and child support to be set at $197.
Can we state your full name, please?
Ivana Yvette Cairo.
Some dates. So where were you living in January when this case was filed?
Living in Killeen, Texas with my aunt.
Okay, and the child was with you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Child now?
Child right now is in Fayetteville, North Carolina.
Okay, and with whom is the child?
Blade.
Israel is your son's name?
Yes.
Okay, and then with whom is Israel? Who's he living with?
There, Octavian Blade and his father's girlfriend.
Okay. You would like to continue? Sorry, you want custody of your son, don't you?
Yes, I would. Yes.
Okay. Let's talk about how we got into that situation. Actually, can you just, in your own words, tell the court why your son is with his father right now?
He was with his father because I was going out of town for work, and he asked me not to take the child away from him, so I let the child stay with him until my work. My work is complete Monday, January 14th. I come back home to Texas. My son's supposed to meet me back home. That's not gonna happen, apparently.
Okay, and so let's talk more about what do you do for a living?
At a cement plant. We kind of make cement boards for different projects and companies.
Do you have family? And I'm sorry, where was the job?
In Macon, Georgia.
Any family in that area?
No.
Okay, was that part of the reason why you agreed for your son to stay with his father while you were working in Georgia?
Yes.
There are other reasons as well?
My mother is his legal guardian while I'm away, so she takes him to all of his doctor's appointments, which is another reason why I preferred him to stay home.
All right, but the biggest reason is the biggest reason why he's with his father right now is because you would not have had any help in Georgia taking care of him,
Mainly,
or are there
yes.
other reasons as well?
That's the biggest one. I wouldn't really have any help.
Okay.
Georgia?
Here since May.
All right, thank you.
When will you be moving back to Texas?
Monday,
Plan to stay in Texas permanently, or do you have other plans to move?
decided.
Let me ask you this: is your preference to stay in Texas once you get back?
Still deciding.
Can you and Mr. Blade make parenting decisions together?
We can, but we can't at the same time.
Or a little more about that.
We can't make decisions without argument. I should say. He always feels like it's kind of him over me. Like I'm kind of lower tier in the conversations. So that's kind of decision making is always kind of hard. I kind of have to, and
There's an argument, and then eventually you're able to talk it out, or is it the argument and then it's his way or the highway? Work it out, or his way or the highway?
It's his way, or it's just not at all.
Based on what you know now, would you have still had your son go live with his father?
Not.
Okay, why not?
Because been deceived for about a few months. I was made to believe that my son was in Nevada. He's in North Carolina. To me, my family.
Hold on a second here. So, right. So so Octavian, Mr. Blade said that he was going to take your son to Nevada, but he took him to North Carolina instead. Okay. How do you know that he's in North Carolina?
In a picture of him, and at the top it has the location of where the picture was taken.
So you have geolocations from some of the pictures you have of your son.
Yes, and they all say Fayetteville, North Carolina.
Okay.
Here, I'm sorry, ma'am. Was he ever in the United States military? I gotta get used to calling it because that's Fayetteville's where Fort Freedom used to be Bragg. Is his girlfriend in the military?
Yes.
You know why? Who's in Fayetteville? Do you know, or why they were in Fayetteville?
Girlfriend lives in Fayetteville with their other child.
Okay. All right, you may proceed, Mr. Diamond. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Have you requested that your son be returned to you?
On multiple occasions.
What was the reply that you received?
That he's not sending him back, and if I ever want to see him again, to get visitation through the court. That information as well.
I'm sorry. Law school. Go ahead.
You have other safety concerns with Mr. Blade? Okay, can you tell the court about your other safety concerns about him? I'm sorry. Sorry, I'm specifically talking about safety concerns as far as your son being with his father.
No, I more so have concerns about the environment that he's in.
That's what I want to get into. You don't love your son living with his father, correct?
No, not really.
Okay. Does your son have a health condition?
Asthma pump?
So how bad is his asthma?
Bad in the wintertime, and when he's sick, he has hard time breathing. When he was first born, they did think he had a cystic fibrosis, but it came back negative after some testing.
Okay, but the asthma is serious enough that it's something that needs to be considered. Will they do anything it's harmful as far as your son's asthma is concerned?
Well, him and his girlfriend, they do smoke weed around their children.
And how do we know this?
And there has been times where I've been talking to him, and he basically is telling me all the things that he was letting him play with. Blunt wrappers have been one of the things.
Smoking weed, is Mr. Blade capable of being a decent father? Assuming the court creates an order, makes you the primary, right? Orders Mr. Blade to return your son to you as earliest convenience, or maybe even as earliest inconvenience. What type of possession and access do you believe Mr. Blade should get for his son?
It'll be a attempt, Mr. Diamond. We're not going to have to go into that. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
This can't be a final. Sorry.
All right, let's talk about personal safety concerns. Ms. Kara, do you have personal safety concerns?
You don't have to do that anyway. I want the kid back in Texas, and I'm going to do an order that's appropriate, and we can take those items up at found. And since mom's the only one in Texas, I'm going to go ahead and give her conservatorship and the right to do so. But if we need to, I need to lay some ground rules what she can and cannot do. So we'll go ahead and proceed. Proceed, please. Thank you.
Your Honor, I guess if there's a hint, I'm missing it. I think that's the case, and that wraps up my testimony. I have some wage testimony, and so I'd ask the court to use that.
Well, because again, it looks like we're using minimum wage on this one also.
I believe
Already
so.
got that testimony from CSO Sanchez, so we're good on that, so. All right, ma'am, here's the deal. You left me some iffy things here, ma'am. Are you gonna remain in Texas or, because, right now I got jurisdiction, but if you're gonna move here and try to move straight out again, then we've got a problem. So, man, what are you coming back to Texas? You're gonna work from the same employer, or what are we looking at here, ma'am?
Back, I'll stay in Texas.
Who are you working for right now?
For Nietzsche High in Macon, Georgia.
Okay, and who are you gonna move it? And was that, did you transfer from Texas to Georgia for the job or what? What were we looking?
Found the job online and I just applied for it.
And you don't have employment here in Texas right now? Talking about maybe moving somewhere else other than Texas? When are you
It wasn't gonna be like in the near future, not as soon as I get back home.
All right, and who are you gonna be staying with here in Texas?
My mother,
And what city is that?
Pflugerville, Texas.
Any other questions of the mother at this time?
I don't believe so, Your Honor. Or Your Honor, if there's more I'm supposed to be asking, I guess I'm just missing it.
It's kind of I have a parent that's been out of the state of Texas for more than 6 months. Sounds like I may have had a child that's been out of the state of Texas for more than 6 months, but I got jurisdiction because everything was filed before.
He left the state. My bad.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
It was filed before then, and now mom's still out of Texas, but is coming back and is going to be living in a different county, and dad is maybe in Fayetteville, Georgia, or somewhere in the vicinity of Fayetteville, Georgia. So, I mean, Fayetteville, North Carolina.
I apologize, Your Honor. I just assumed she was coming back to Bell County, and shame on me for making an assumption.
So here's what I'm looking at doing. I'm looking at naming you both temporary joint management servitors, but giving you the right to decide domicile. And right now, I'm going to order that domicile to be either Bell or contiguous counties, which covers Pflugerville. You're not living in part of Pflugerville that's in Travis County, right? You're gonna be living in part that's in Williamson County?
I live in the part that's in Travis County.
All right, well, I'm gonna order that it be Bell and contiguous counties. And I'll also include Travis County as well, so you can live in Travis County while this is going on temporarily. I'm going to go ahead and not give dad any rights under this order until further order. I'm ordering that you have the right to decide domicile and that he's ordered to turn custody over to you, and you and the child are restricted to Texas until I can get a final order in this thing. In other words, ma'am, you cannot leave until we get this thing finalized. But here's the problem, ma'am. You now have legal custody of this child, and the order will state that you have legal custody of this child, but you may have to go, you may have to go to North Carolina and file paperwork there to have a proper court up there turn the child over to you, and that's going to be left up to you to do it, ma'am. I lose jurisdiction at Texarkana. I'm giving you custody, but if you want to, if he doesn't turn the child back over to you, the only way for you to get this enforced is to file a writ in North Carolina and have the court of North Carolina order him to turn the child over to you. And you can't get that done for free. You have to hire a lawyer to do it. So I'm sorry about that, but those are the circumstances I'm dealing with right now. But you've got legal custody under the Texas order, but you may have to go to North Carolina to get him and get a court up there to make him turn the child over to you. Understood? Okay. Anyway, I'll go ahead and order him to pay temporary child support going forward based on the minimum wage presumption starting the first day of February. I'll go ahead and order him to pay cash medical as requested, as proven up by the CSO also to start the first day of February. I'll hold in advance any retroactive child support amounts, and I'm going to, in the interim, this was a mess. I'm gonna go ahead and appoint as the ad litem in this matter, Mr. Diamond, going forward. So I'm gonna appoint Ms. Elizabeth Swartz as the child's lawyer. And if anybody in North Carolina or someone else or dad needs to have a contact of the child's lawyer as far as these matters are concerned, but her name is going to be Elizabeth Swartz. Ma'am, do I have permission? Does the state have permission to give Ms. Swartz your phone number and your email address? All right. Anyway, but she can't do anything in North Carolina either. She can only do things in regards to Texas, because again, North Carolina is a totally different jurisdiction. But to North Carolina, he hasn't been there in North Carolina long enough for them to assume jurisdiction. I'll assume jurisdiction, and I'm ordering that that he immediately turn the child back over to you until further order of this court. and everybody comes back and appears before this court for the court to make further temporary orders. So, Mr. Diamond, you're right. This thing had more moving parts than I think you even knew about. So yeah.
Yes, sir.
But I'm going to go ahead and set this up as such. Temporary joint MC. Mom has all rights under temporary joint MC. The right to site domicile. The rights restricted to Bell, contiguous, and Travis County. I'm going to go ahead and order that dad immediately over the child to her at the earliest possible date. And I'm appointing Ms. Schwartz as the ad litem, and we set this matter for 30, 40 days out to see where everybody is and see whether or not the child has been returned to the mother. Let's get an update from Mom and Ms. Schwartz on January 25th and to see where the child is at that point. And tell Daddy now has a court order, but the court order is not for visitation. The court order is for custody, and that's that. So. For this it's a temporary order, and that's what I'll make final orders based on. I'll set this matter for a final hearing, but I want an update on where all the moving parts are. I want to see it, make sure Mom's back in Texas, living in Pflugerville, see whether or not the child's back with her, and see what's going on as far. And we'll get an update on that on January 25th. So. Ms. Cairo, do you have any questions, ma'am? Anything else you need an answer on at this point, ma'am?
Other than that, I apologize, Your Honor. I maybe should have asked 2 or 3 more jurisdictional questions when I was visiting with Ms. Caro. I'll try to be more mindful of that.
I didn't catch you to the very end either, because until she said she was moving back to Pflugerville, that never came up in my radar either. So yeah, all right. Again, I'm definitely assuming jurisdiction because Texas is obviously was the home state at the time of filing, and we're good. So, all right then, ma'am, I'm gonna go ahead and have the state prepare that order. I'm reset this for a review on January 25th on the Zoom docket, and by then the lawyers will be here. So hopefully you and she can talk by then and find out what is going to be done as far as the father return the child to you. All right. Anything else at this time, Mr. Diamond?
No, Your Honor.
All right, ma'am, is the mother free to go?
Yes, sir.
Free to go. The state's going to prepare an order giving you custody and giving you the information concerning the ad litem, the child's lawyer, and I'll see you back here in about 16 days. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much, and we're off the record.
Thank you, Your Honor.